This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Super J-Cast. I'm Joel Abraham, joined by David McDonald. David, do you remember the good old days when there was no wrestling and no football? Life was better back then, wasn't it?
Felt like it, doesn't it? I like what we saw with the attempts of New Japan. I mean, I appreciate the efforts. I appreciate all sports giving it their best go, but what a crazy world we live in, huh, Joel? What a crazy world we live in.
Let's start with a question from RBX2000. Well, two questions, actually. So, RBX2000 says, following the speaking out movement, how do you, as guys who don't as closely follow the British scene, feel about the position of Ospreay and to a lesser extent Sabre, who has extensive links to those implicated and whose silence has been deafening? And he adds, this isn't a moral judgment, by the way. I just feel a bit in the bubble at the moment, and I'm curious of the perspectives of those with a bit of distance. And another question from Steel O'Neill says, with the recent awful allegations re the Speaking Out movement, do you have any views on the apparent lack of accusations of Japan-based wrestlers? So, Damon, I think those are fair questions for us as a New Japan-centric podcast. But for us to sit here and talk about those two wrestlers does feel like it's missing the point in a week where we've seen some of the most appalling, vile testimonies. I mean, I'll answer the question, and I'll be honest, I'm very disappointed in my fellow countrymen. One of them spewed out one of the most heinous non-apologies I've ever seen, and should have just kept his mouth shut, as it turns out. Like, he was unable to show even a shred of genuine contrition for his part in a very ugly, nasty situation. Like, clearly not sorry in the slightest. And the other, usually so quick to jump on political bandwagons for clout that it makes me wonder what he's hiding or whom he's covering for. And I'll tell you this for free, I'm going to really struggle discussing a certain former junior champions matches ever again. I mean, sex with a drunk 16-year-old who's 10 years your junior? Consensual? Get the fuck out of here. And look, I mean, these people technically haven't broken any laws. And I always say, you draw your own line in the sand as to whether or not you can enjoy their craft. I can discuss match quality, sure, but am I ever going to be cheering for Mr. Sex Pig again? Nope. Am I going to be slapping like on the next tweet fired off burying the Tories? Nope. I'm very much side-eyeing the pair of them at this point. But, you know, let's put that into context, because really, Damon, we talked about this off-air. Who gives a shit what I think about these wrestlers? Because this Speaking Out campaign is not about the men like us rocking up with our podcasts and our tweets and our hot takes on who's right and wrong and playing detective, what should be done with them, how to fix wrestling, blah, blah, blah. This is not a time for us to speak. This is a time for us to listen. And yeah, it's hard to do that. It's hard for me as the father of a baby girl to read about these accounts of molestation and assault, abuse, rape by men and women who've been exposed as absolute human detritus. I mean, some of these stories, they made me feel physically ill, like literally nauseating.
Yeah.
But again, my response is a drop in the ocean compared to what these poor victims have gone through. Again, men and women. You know, this is not exclusively an issue of men preying on women, but what I think about it, I think that's irrelevant. No one should care about what I have to say. I mean, yeah, I can sit here and say, yes, all the bad people who did the bad things should be arrested. Clap, clap, clap. Likes and retweets at the bottom, please.
Right.
That's obvious. We can all see how absolutely rotten the wrestling scene is. I mean, look, I'm a teacher. Before I even set foot through that door to start working with young, vulnerable people, I have background checks, police checks, multiple references. And when I start the job, there's child protection training, there's safeguarding. what to do if you suspect abuse is occurring. Whistleblowing procedures. You know, if you think person A is doing something bad, then you tell person B. If you think person B is doing something bad, then tell person C, etc., etc.
Right.
And even then, with all of these procedures in place, terrible things can still happen. So, with wrestling, which has none of the above.
The fucking wild west, right?
Yeah, it's no surprise the absolute cesspit it's become. So, sure, tear it all down, start again. That much is self-evident. You know, you're not going to get any woke points for stating the bleeding obvious here. You know, I was talking about this last month. When we talked about Hana Kimura taking her own life, I said there needed to be structural support in place for young wrestlers, and this is why.
Right.
And, you know, don't get cute with me. I hate people getting smug and thinking, oh, it's only happening in dirty old Britain. It's never happened in Japan. But guess what? Japan doesn't exactly have a spotless record when it comes to young trainees. Like, we know what goes on in some sumo heias. We know what used to go on in the New Japan dojo. We've had tiny glimpses into the underbelly of the Joshi scene. And also, don't think this is unique to wrestling either. Like, I guarantee, whatever form of sports or entertainment you consume, there is abuse going on at some level. You like football? You see what came out in November 2016. There's a fucking laundry list of paedophiles and rapists who've been getting away with it for decades.
Yeah.
Decades! 70s, 80s, 90s.
Yep.
You play video games? Just go and search. Go and look on Google now, the Holotide tweets. You like movies? Jeffrey Epstein, anyone? Fucking casting couch?
Junior
culture?
hockey?
It's
junior hockey
it's
has
everywhere.
a culture. Yeah, absolutely. It is everywhere.
So, you know, what can we do? I don't know. I've got no idea. There are big conversations to be had about endemic abuse and power dynamics. Personally, I don't feel equipped to treat that with the care and respect it deserves. There's a good episode of Post Wrestling with Kristen Ashley. They discuss this in depth. So, to go back to my point, I think listening to people is a good start. It's time for us to shut up and listen and create a culture of understanding and approachability where people can share their stories without fear of backlash, because I'm telling you, Damon, this is the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. And I will also say that I feel like this has to be a step forward when it comes to the change part, because that's where I struggle. Because I've gone through this, it feels like, many times, specifically within pro wrestling, whether it be Moolah, whether it be Terry Garvin or Mel Phillips, or whether it be sexual assault allegations and court cases and suits. I mean, you can rattle off the names and you can look them up. Missy Hyatt, you know, the history of pro wrestling is filthy and horrible. And yes, there's plenty of good, but it's always been there, and they've never learned from their errors. And when these things come to light, you hope that, okay, this is the moment that young women who want to be pro wrestlers won't have to go through this. And call me naive. I'm 40s. I don't hang out, with wrestlers and bars and clubs and that, that I'm kind of past that. But I actually thought that this crew had it all sorted out when it came to the disgusting stuff that pro wrestling hung its hat on for decades. I really thought that this was it. I really thought that we were out of that. And boy, was I wrong. But I don't have confidence in pro wrestling. If you want to know the honest to God truth, I don't have confidence in it because the track record speaks for itself. I don't know. It's exhausting. I sit here and I say it's exhausting for us as fans, but what about the exhaustion that the people who are speaking out feel? So I don't know how to wrap it up into one concise thought. it really makes you look at why we like what we like when it comes to pro wrestling. It really, really does.
Yeah, I mean, forgive me, listeners, but I cannot muster up any enthusiasm to discuss these shows I watch this week. I can't do it. I cannot go from rape allegations to, Yano versus Hiromu wackiness.
And one is bad enough, Joel, right? You know what I mean? Like, one is bad enough. Like, you hear one story and it's like, well, whoa, and it rattles you. We've got 16 against one guy. You know what I mean? How? You know what I mean? Like, pro wrestling failed again.
It's not just pro wrestling, Dave. It seems everywhere I look, everyone at any level of authority is just failing miserably at everything. So I'm just kind of withdrawing into my own little world where, I watch nice things. I've watched the Paddington Bear movies over the last 2 nights. They were wonderful, really delightful, and I was happier for it. And then, you open up Twitter.com again, it's like, oh, Christ. And I, like you said, I feel guilty even expressing an opinion and expressing my disgust at what's going on, because, just like I said, who the fuck are we? What are we even doing here?
I don't know.
Well, let's move on then. Into the news. There's a bit of news this week. Lines Break Collision to hit NJPW World in July. So these are going to be weekly broadcast events on World through July. So it'll be Friday nights, and basically some of the wrestlers who are in the USA at the moment. So I think we mentioned before about Filthy Tom Lawler. So it's going to start on Friday, July the 3rd with 2 matches. We've got Clark Connors versus Alex Coughlin. We've got a tag match with Jeff Cobb and Rocky Romero against TJP and Carl Fredericks. And we've also got a list of some new wrestlers who are going to be appearing. Names include Rust Taylor, Danny Limelight, and the DKC. I don't know anything about those wrestlers, but a bit of extra wrestling to watch coming from the States, David. Your thoughts on that?
It's nice. I mean, a weekly show. They'll get a lot of time in ring. They'll get a lot of time to get better, and the best part about that is you'll get to see that progression, right? I was always hoping that they would have some type of, I don't know, weekly. It's almost like, I don't want to say like reality television, because pro wrestling can be, as weird as it sounds, some of the best reality television. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I mean, we don't know how long it's going to be before those guys make it back to Japan with the way the United States is handling this virus. That is a big question for sure. So why not take advantage of if they're going to be there, let's get some cameras and let's set up some shows. So I think it's a smart idea to take advantage of a terrible situation.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see more of that class of young lions, because really excited talents there. The likes of Coughlin and Connors and Frederick. So all in favour of that. Well, let's talk about these 3 shows then. So starting Monday, June the 22nd in an unknown venue, which looks suspiciously like Korakuen Hall, but it was unknown. First match, we had an 8-man tag match with Suzuki-kun against Young Lions and Yuji Nagata. But let's get straight into the New Japan Cup matches, where we had Sanada defeating Ryusuke Taguchi in 15 minutes 47 seconds with an O'Connor bridge. And the time of these matches, just in general, I feel that these matches are going on a lot longer than they should. If you are trying to position... Yeah, I think a lot of these matches, take this one for example. You've got Sanada, who is my favourite to win. This is a guy who's beaten the likes of Kazuchika Okada. He's had IWGP title shots, so he is definitely in that upper mid card. And if you listen to certain subsections of fans, this is a future champion. I just think, why is he taking 60 minutes to put away Comedy Junior Taguchi. So I just think, personally, the fact that we only have 5 matches on these cards, I think they are giving more time to these New Japan Cup matches, where I think some of them they are mismatches, and you should have established guys, not squash matches, but just blowing through them in 6 minutes. Maybe a bit of back and forth, but establish who is the dominant wrestler here. This match was fine. Opening was pretty good, some good grappling there. Lost me in the middle with the Paradise Lock and the bum shenanigans, and I thought the ending was pretty good, to be fair, when Taguchi started getting serious. Decent little match, but again, 16 minutes, I thought it was too long.
So, to me, when you get a singles match on a New Japan show, well, let me rewind a little bit. I hear that critique a lot in certain circles, namely our Discord, if I pop in every once in a while, of matches going too long and a certain pattern and so forth. And I really truly believe that is done to keep people at a certain level. This is a company that, by and large, I know that we've had an exception here, but by and large, this is a company that uses clean finishes. Right? We'll have an occasional count out, and we'll have an occasional disqualification. So pinfalls are really and submissions are the deciding factor. So the only way to determine a hierarchy would be match length, right? So again, just as you described, if it takes me 15 minutes to beat someone, you would think that person would be ranked, and I put that in air quotes, higher than a person where it took me 5 minutes to beat, right? And I think you see that when it comes to the Young Lions, right? The Young Lions are usually sub 10-minute matches, right? Was there any Young Lions match in the Cup that went longer than 10 minutes?
I'd have to go back and check. If you bear with me.
No problem. If you have it, don't kill yourself with it. My point being is that the thing that we like about New Japan, the fact that we can heat up people and cool people off, that's a primary reason that New Japan can do that, is that in singles matches specifically, they're going to go a certain length, right? And especially the main events are going to go a certain length, because the assumption is that they can be main eventers if they're not already established main eventers, right? So I don't have a problem with matches going 15 minutes or going, in some cases even 20 minutes, if they're, in the ring with people who are stars, because that's the really, aside from, you can't have everybody take pinfalls. You know what I mean? Like, Tanahashi can't fucking lie down to everyone. If he did, when he did lie down, it wouldn't be as important. In the same breath, you have to move people up. So the only thing match-wise, and again, match structure is one thing, but another big thing is that time is to make sure that a guy is credible, and a guy is worthy of that position on the card. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but if everyone is credible and everyone is pushing their opponents, 15 minutes plus, then no one's special, like the Okada Gedo match, or a match I guess we'll talk about later, like Goto against Yujiro. Did that need to go 17 minutes long? Is Yujiro really that close and that competitive to someone like Goto, who, he's not exactly a huge star, but 17 minutes?
Right, but that's just one factor. But who got the win? Goto. And everybody in the house knew Goto was going to win that match. But I think I think actually having Takahashi, lose in 5 minutes is worse. Because the next time you see Takahashi, are you going to give a flying fuck about a Takahashi match? Not that, we're all sitting on the edge of our chair right now anyway. But you get my point, right? Does Tenzan and Yoshihashi need to go 20 minutes? I mean, no, but I can't say no.
I like that one, actually.
Me too. Here's the thing. But that's another point. Is that these guys can go the old tap of the shoulder thing that we talk about a lot, right? These guys can go when they're asked to, by and large. It's I just think it's such a small thing, but I think it's on the grand scheme of things, I think it's a small thing. But I also think it is an important thing to keep a match length at a certain point, because if they're going to be eating a pin, you got to make it look somewhat competitive.
Maybe it's just the fact that it's empty arena that a lot of these match layouts, for me, are coming off a bit flat. When it's an exciting, high-paced match with two guys just beating the crap out of each other, then I think that works in an empty arena. But if it's one of the more sort of traditional match structures with long heat control segments where the babyface is getting built down and that goes on, and then they make their fiery comeback at the end, to me, that doesn't work in an empty arena when there's no one cheering for that babyface in peril.
Right.
And it feels a lot longer than it is. I mean, let me go to Twitter, actually, because our friend of the show, Forrest, he did the maths and worked out the average lengths of these matches as compared to previous.
That's a big thing for him, right? I know that's a big thing for him.
So 2016, the opening round average was 10 minutes 26. 2017, it jumped up a lot, 15 minutes 20 seconds. 2018, huge jump, 19 minutes 56 seconds. 2019, back down again, 15 minutes 17 seconds. 2020, 50 minutes 43 seconds. So really, it's about the same level it was 2017 and 2019. Maybe it just feels longer to me because of the empty arena stuff, and the lack of the crowd means that I'm struggling to engage with it, and those segments which normally wouldn't be a problem for me with a cheering crowds are starting to drag.
I can definitely see that, and I will say that there is one match that totally skews to your argument, and that's the Okada Gedo match. You know what I mean? That went over 15 fucking minutes. There's no way that match should have gone over 10 minutes. Let alone 15 minutes. So I think if you took that match out of the equation, I mean, Ishii and Desperado went 20. Honma, Takahashi, that went, close to 20, like 19 minutes. Nagata, Suzuki went 20. Tanahashi and Taichi went over 20. Shockingly, Ibushi and Zack went 15 minutes. Taguchi and Sonata went 15.
That's what I mean. I mean, long-term rivals who more or less on the same position on the card, in the form of Zack and Ibushi, going the same length of time as Taguchi and Sonata.
Right. I hear you. I mean, look, I'm not saying it's not. I don't think it's a crazy argument. I just think I really think it's a thing just because of this company and the fact that they use clean pinfalls all the time. They don't want. I think at this point that if you did have that sub 10-minute match, I don't know. I think it makes a guy lose. You'll go down a rung, and maybe that's okay. But I think one of the things that makes New Japan special is that they do have the ability to heat people up pretty quick, and one of the reasons is this kind of booking style.
I think it depends on the intensity of the match. I think you can have a very close, competitive, hard-fought, high-paced 9-minute match with a clean pinfall where the loser doesn't look weak. It depends on the pace of the match. It's the pace that the match is worked at. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just grumpy today. I mean, do you have any other thoughts about Taguchi versus Sanada?
I don't. To be honest, I'm kind of glad that we spent 10 minutes talking about match lengths because if you asked me, give me highlights of that match, that's one of the problems. It's like every match, I feel like I liked it. That was good, fine. But there's nothing that's like sticking with me. And the one thing that is sticking with me is a match that was highly goofy, highly shenanigan laced, but was action packed and dare I say fun. That's one thing that will stand out. Like even right now, Ishii Desperado. Can you give me anything from that match? Right. You know what I mean?
A lot of Ishii matches are like that, to be fair. I enjoy them, but then I immediately forget them, and I couldn't tell you any memorable spots from them.
Right. I mean, I appreciate what New Japan is doing here, and I appreciate the fact that we have a New Japan Cup, and I appreciate the fact that every match does mean something. I feel like I'm evaluating practice. I feel like I'm evaluating. If I've enjoyed these empty arena matches more than I've enjoyed just about any other promotion's empty arena efforts. Let's say that right up front. These are empty arena matches. And it's missing something. Oh, it's missing a lot. Let's put it that way. It's hard for me to evaluate matches like seriously, can we honestly sit here and evaluate matches in this format? Is that fair?
I think if we go through these match by match, I hope to have at least one opinion for each match. Something we could talk about.
Yeah. But I think, I know these are weird times and troubling times, as every fucking advertiser will tell me. Are we counting this in the New Japan canon? Is this... in history, are we going to have a video montage of the New Japan Cup and have this? You know what I mean? How are they going to handle this period in time is I guess, my question. Because it just feels weird.
Let's go on to the third match on the show, which was Sho defeating Shingo Takagi in 17 minutes and 6 seconds with a shock arrow. This is my favourite match of the tournament so far.
Yeah.
All my complaining before, I thought this was fantastic. This is exactly the kind of match I want to see in an empty arena, where it's so fast and so hard hitting that you kind of forget the fact that there are no fans there. And I know I did predict this, but it was still a bit of a surprise for me to see a junior defeating Shingo Takagi. And I thought both guys were just terrific here. The styles complement each other really well. My opinion of Sho has greatly increased after this match. And just the layout of the match I thought was really smart as well, because there were certain moments where towards the end Sho was setting up the shock arrow and then Shingo would power out, and I thought, well that's it now. He's teased his big finisher, Shingo's escaped it, so Shingo's going to go on and win. And it didn't turn out to be the case. So I was genuinely surprised by the outcome of the match, and this was one of the few matches that I could count on one hand, really, where it was so high quality that I lost myself in the moment and forgot that it was in an empty arena.
I think you're right. I think you are right in the sense of you have to have... the matches that I enjoyed most are the ones where you forget you're in an empty arena and have an energy and a pace to it. This was one of them. Absolutely. You need that. And again, I keep kind of falling back on there's three things. One, it's you need to have that. Two, obviously, guys, you can't have. I guess the guys that you would kind of point a finger at and be like, okay, this is a lumbering guy, or imagine Fale in a situation like this in an empty arena. Oh boy. You need that. And three, like the matches that have a little bit of shenanigans, I don't know, maybe they distract you as well from what's going on. So yeah, I definitely agree. Show and Shingo was pretty fucking great. It might be one of my favorite empty arena matches, period. If all things considered. Show. Are you back on the bandwagon here?
Yeah, we've got a question actually from GoAce09 who says, do you guys foresee Show as part of the heavyweight division, or is he subject to a Kushida-like career? Because really interesting point now that they do seem to be using that Never title as an openweight title, because Show is the junior tag team champion, but presumably he will be challenging for the Never openweight title. And I can't remember the last time. Well, I suppose there was the Ospreay reign where he was technically still a junior. So right. I like that they're continuing with that, and that with these uncertain times, we do have this whole openweight element, and I would like to see more of that. Specifically with regards to Show, yeah, I can see something there. I think he still needs to improve his confidence and learn how to cut a good promo, because he still seems very shy and introverted in front of that camera. But in terms of the quality of his in-ring output, absolutely no questions there whatsoever. I know a lot of people say maybe he's on the short side, but like physically, in terms of the musculature of his body, he looks like a heavyweight to me. So I don't know, where do you stand on the Show
I love
debate?
him. I told you flat out on shows previous that, like, if he had a couple more inches, in his feet, in his legs, I would be writing, at least Intercontinental Champion on him. I think I'm one of those people that feel his height is a detriment, unfortunately. Just knowing what a heavyweight pro wrestler, an IWGP heavyweight champion, has been in the past. That's the only strike against him, and that's really not his fault. I mean, how do you fix that? You give him lifts? I don't know. I love him. I think he's fantastic. I think he's fantastic in the ring. Promos. I mean, I think that could be worked, right? I think that could be. We could find a way around that. But boy, oh boy, in the ring, great. And once again, Shingo. I mean, just what an MVP. What an MVP guy to have in your life.
Makes everyone look good, doesn't he?
He really does. He really does. And I've said this many times. I think he's one of the most important signings New Japan had in the past 2 or 3 years. I really do.
Now, I remember when he signed, and he was built up with this huge unbeaten streak, which was ended at the end of the Best of the Super Juniors last year. But it did leave a bit of mystery about where the company viewed him, like his position on the card. Is this guy who's got the potential to be a future IWGP heavyweight champion or a contender? Does this result make you think that they see him as more of a gatekeeper than a future star?
No. I mean, I think this match is a perfect example of setting up future programs. So I wouldn't put a first round knockout as him just being a gatekeeper. I think they know what they got with him. I will say this though: he's not a spring chicken.
Two people, hasn't he?
Right.
If
right.
I've got that right.
Yeah. But he's not 20. Let's put it that way too.
He's the same age as Naito and Ibushi, like 36, 37.
Right. So, I mean, 40s creep up on you when you reach that 40 age. Just getting out of bed is a little bit harder. I can't imagine what Shingo would have to go through. So keep that in mind. But I think they feel like they have themselves a stud. Do I think IWGP Heavyweight Champion? No. But Intercontinental with a cup of coffee? Sure. I would have zero problem with that.
Fourth match was Kota Ibushi defeating Zack Sabre Jr. in 15 minutes, 15 seconds with Kamigoye. This was where my bracket was busted. And I thought it was good. I mean, the matches between the two always are, but this would definitely fall on the lower end of the totem pole in terms of their encounters for me. Nicole has some interesting thoughts. She said it's a story, 3 New Japan Cups in the making, as Ibushi slowly goes from ref stoppage to finally beating Zack, and the evolution to baby's first grapple fucker, as this was the most amount of mat work I've seen Ibushi do in I don't know how long. If you want typical striker / high flying Ibushi, this ain't it. So yeah, they definitely worked a more mat based style, and you have that evolution of Ibushi through those 3 New Japan Cup matches he'd had with Zack, which is something I didn't notice. So there you go.
Well, listen, if you're gonna look for nuance in a Kota Ibushi match, Nicole's your person. You know what I mean? Like
Resident Ibushi scholar. She
yes,
doesn't have that title for nothing, folks.
Yeah, no doubt. But to hop on that, your point is even more amplified in the sense of they're rolling around the ring, and there were times, and who would have thought, looking at the brackets, there were times during this match, Joel, I'm looking at my fucking phone. It was not one of their better efforts, it felt like.
Main event was Hiroshi Tanahashi against Taichi. Taichi winning in 21 minutes 51 seconds with a Black Mephisto. And this is another example of a match that I thought badly needed a crowd. The whole, crowd brawling, the walk and brawl, and the long heat control periods with Tanahashi as the babyface in peril, to me, doesn't work without a crowd. I thought the closing stretch of this was terrific, but I mean, you could say that about most New Japan matches. But Taichi and Tanahashi going toe to toe, and Taichi getting a relatively clean win. I know there were some docky shenanigans earlier in the match, but when it came to that final 5 minutes, that was all Taichi there. So definitely something worth talking about there. That the positioning of Taichi and his elevation, where he is pushing people like Okada to the limit at New Beginning, and now he's got a clean win over Tanahashi. This is definitely a guy that we're seeing elevated, and yeah, I thought half of this match was good.
Yeah. Taichi's. I mean, we've said it before. One of the biggest arguments that we said last week, or maybe the week previous when we were doing our brackets, was is Taichi a guy who's going to get that pinfall win on Tanahashi? And as you saw the brackets lay out, you were kind of like, oh my God, they really are going to do this. And there are plenty of times in the matches where, you thought, okay, well, Tanahashi's got to, okay, right. But yeah, they went with it. That's it. Look, dare I say that's a gutsy move by New Japan? And Hiroshi Tanahashi, let's be honest, that's a gutsy fucking move to do that. Trust me, there's a lot of people. I know a lot of people that openly groaned when that happened. Openly groaned. That's a big win for Taichi. You can't discount that. That is a big fucking win. Empty arena, okay, great, fine. But New Japan Cup, that's a big win.
Got a few questions about Taichi. Let me open up my file. So Jay Reezy Min says, how do you feel if Taichi wins the New Japan Cup? And what are some unlikely upsets like Taichi in show? And Liam says, thoughts on the potential of Taichi as New Japan Cup winner? Also, with his consistency over the past 5 years, is there an argument for Ishii as the best professional wrestler alive today? Okay, well, let's put that Ishii question on ice and just discuss the Taichi one. I don't think there's much potential of Taichi winning the New Japan Cup. And the only reason I say that, I think he would be a perfectly good challenger for Naito for a third capacity Osaka-jo Hall. But I just think he's too tied up in this tag feud with Ibushi and Tanahashi that he's probably going to lose to... I think he beats Ibushi in the next round, actually. Maybe with some shenanigans. Just because I think you need the challengers for the tag team titles getting another win over the holders to set that up. But no, I don't think he's going to win the whole New Japan Cup.
Yeah, I mean, just the way it's looking, he is in that tag program. He has what? He has Ibushi next. well, I mean, we'll do predictions later, but I mean, you can make a guy a really big fucking heel. You know what I mean? You're going to get a pinfall win over Tanahashi, and you're going to get a pinfall win over Kota Ibushi. That's interesting. But yeah, I don't see him winning the cup. But you did also bring up an interesting thing. Would you be interested at all in a Taichi Naito IWGP Heavyweight Title match?
Sure. I mean, why not? Like, one of these lesser shows, like maybe a Dontaku or a Destruction or something like that, I think would be perfectly serviceable. They've got an interesting history. They've had some good matches in the past. I'll be happy with that. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I'm telling you, man. I turned the corner. You know it. I was never a Taichi guy. I just think it's amazing how he's been able to string together a fantastic run of really good matches, and some of them pretty great. And here's the thing too. As much as I like hand wave the gimmick and I rolled and like, oh, what the fuck, it makes it less annoying when you put out great matches. It really does. Taichi's not the fucking honky tonk man, guys. He's won me over. Let's put it that way.
So Tuesday we open up with Bushi defeating Yo in 50 minutes 42 seconds with the MX. Nice little match. It's absolutely fine. About what I expected. Bushi won. He didn't even take his t-shirt off. I guess an interesting talking point out of this would be to look at the relative positioning of Yo and Sho. So Sho obviously getting a huge upset win over a singles title holder before Machine Gun Takagi, but Yo losing to Bushi. Do you think we can read anything into... Well, first of all, what did you think of the match? And do you think we can read anything into that?
Match was fine. Fine. I think Yo is really good. But if you ask me who I think is better, I think Sho is. I enjoy Sho's matches more than I enjoy Yo's singles matches. That doesn't mean that I think Yo stinks. That doesn't mean that I think Yo is a terrible wrestler. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I think Sho is a notch above Yo. I don't know what you do with the guy though. Like, so let's just say that we break up Roppongi 3K and they can feud, right? Let's just go traditional pro wrestling route. I see more of an upside after that happens for Sho than I do for Yo. Why do I feel that way, Joel?
I don't think you're alone in that. I just think in terms of the in-ring style, Sho is more explosive and dynamic in a way that catches your eye more than Yo, who is more of a wrestler's wrestler.
I think Yo has more personality. Like, I think Yo, like, some of Yo's facial expressions are borderline hilarious and very almost heel-like. Like, he's got.
I've said that before, haven't I? That I think he's got a lot of upside as a, sneaky, smug little prick heel.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I absolutely see that. So, I mean, I think there's qualities that both. I think that's why they complement each other as a tag team. Let's be truthful. The shortcomings that I see with Sho, I think Yo wins hands down. The shortcomings I see with Yo, I see as strengths with Yo. So, in pro wrestling, sometimes it is the personality that wins it over. I mean, and you can get by. And again, I'm talking like Yo's, the fucking bushwhackers. He's really good in the ring. And we're talking, little percentage points of less or more. But yeah, I see Yo heel Just like you said, a little smug prick heel.
Got a couple of questions about these guys. Andrew says, Sho and Yo came back looking awesome and more serious. They've been groomed for the next phase of their respective careers sooner rather than later. And Flynn says, thoughts on Yo's new look and music? At least Daddy Romero is letting him have the same freedom that Sho gets now. So yeah, just judging by the fact that Yo has his own singles entrance theme now, both of them have new looks, new haircut, new outfits. It does seem to suggest that singles work could be in their future, even though they are still the junior tag team holders.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, the Bushi Yo match, they were both rocking that silver and white and almost looking like the Oakland Raiders or Las Vegas Raiders now. And again, Cheryl doesn't know anything about this stuff. So she walked in and or actually upstairs, and she's like, are they tag team partners that just broke up? Because they looked like they had the same outfits on. That's
a very astute observation there. Maybe they will be in the future, with the speculation that Yo could be LIJ bound at some point in the future. I think Yo and Bushi would be a pretty cool junior tag team, personally.
Yeah, wasn't there always that little bit of dynamic with Yo, with LIJ in the past? I'm just saying. All right, good job there. Yeah.
Then we had Yoshihashi defeating Hiroshi Tenzan in 17 minutes 35 seconds with the butterfly lock. And this was kind of like the joke match for a lot of people in the opening rounds, but I think this exceeded all expectations. I thought this was really great. And like I said, with these empty arena shows, you just got to beat the crap out of each other, and this is what they did. Tenzan, his chest just got absolutely lit up by Yoshihashi, who was showing, I thought, a more ruthless edge. And as part of a wider trend in this tournament, Tenzan looks rejuvenated. I think he brought the best version of this Tenzan we could possibly get here. And there were some really exciting near falls as well, like when Tenzan had Yoshihashi in the Anaconda Vice and Yoshihashi transition. I thought he was going to tap, first of all, and then there was that transitioned into the kind of pinfall situation where Yoshihashi nearly changed that into a pin. And my one complaint would be, I still think the butterfly lock looks like absolute crap. I've had more painful looking Thai massages than that, but great job, both guys. I was really impressed with this one.
I think one of the main stories to come out of this New Japan Cup so far has been the outstanding hustle of, as they're affectionately known, the dads. Each one of them have, dare I say, busted their ass. And have done, again, 3 months. They look like they sucked up that time off like a sponge, and they just let it absorb in their body and refresh them. And even if it's just for one match, Tenzan looked better than he has in, dare I say, years. And to ask him to go over 15 minutes in a singles match. Again, we're talking about Tenzan here. Broken down, beaten down, ankle fucked Tenzan to go 15 minutes. And you know what? Hats off to Yoshihashi, too. Look, before we... know what I'm seeing a lot around on the internet as I dance about, not very frequently, but, I know I'm seeing a lot of, Joel. I'm seeing a lot of people throwing around a term that I coined. I created. You know what that term is, Joel?
It's the old bag of socks, Damon. That is a registered trademark from your good self. And I know it was one that Joe Lanza of Voices of Wrestling has adopted and did credit you initially. But
all right,
every time he mentions Yoshihashi, I think there should be credit to one Damon McDonald, because, yeah, like you said, it's spreading like wildfire.
It really is.
People need to know where it comes from.
That's me. I gave the world bag of socks. And again, it doesn't mean bag of socks. Bags of socks don't stink, Joel. Bags of socks are just boring. They're efficient, but nobody gets excited over a fucking bag of socks. So yes, please. So the next, feel free to use it in any one of your reviews, all the various sites. But just give old Damon a little credit here, all right? Please. It was distressing me. I need all the credit I can get. Yeah, so dads doing it for themselves. Excellent job by the dad so far. This was not a bad match at all. In fact, I really enjoyed it. And I can't wait for Yoshihashi Bushi.
Fourth match was Hiroki Goto defeating Yujiro Takahashi in 16 minutes 40 seconds. As I said before, I didn't love this. I don't like Goto as the babyface in peril getting beaten down. I don't think it works for him. He's at his best when it's just him and the other guy killing each other. Like, the Shibata match or the Suzuki match, or he had a really good match with Elgin a couple of years ago. That's what I want to see from Goto. And just Yujiro in control of the match, I didn't buy it. It was long, it was boring. I've seen better matches from Yujiro. I'm recalling a New Japan Cup match, I think it was maybe 2 years ago. Yeah, it was 2 years ago with Juice Robinson. That was really good. And yeah, this wasn't it. I just didn't like this one.
It was okay. Yeah, it was okay. I'm looking at these brackets, though, Joel. If Goto gets past Evil, he's got Yoshihashi, the winner of Yoshihashi Bushi, which is definitely win. So whoever's winning Evil Goto is moving on, right? Could this be have we forgotten about Hiroki Goto?
I think for him and Evil, it's just a coin flip. I mean, we'll come on to that when we preview, but to me, they're pretty much in the same spot on the cards.
Right.
Both capable of having the occasional great match, but mostly fine matches with a fair smattering of underwhelming matches. So, if I'm booking it, I don't know. Like, it would be a coin toss for me. Who's got more upside?
There's no chance of him in a semi-final position, right?
What, Goto specifically?
Yeah, quarterfinals.
Yeah, I could see it.
So he would have to be Evil and then beat the winner of Yoshihashi Bushi. That's better than a 50% chance, I think, right?
Yeah, so if we have, let's say, Goto versus Yoshihashi, that will be the quarterfinal. And then we're looking at a potential, maybe Goto versus Sanada.
Yeah.
Semi-final.
Yeah. All right, just throwing it out there a little early. All right, where are we going next, Joe?
Main event of this show was Evil versus Satoshi Kojima. 20 minutes, 8 seconds. Evil winning with Evil. I like the finish of it. And it's had quite a nice story as well with Evil trying to take out the strongest arm of one Satoshi Kojima to take out that lariat. And I think quite a cool finish as well with Kojima running towards Evil, aiming to use that lariat with his damaged arm, but then running straight into the STF. Is it an STF? Whatever the Evil maneuver is. So I thought a good finish, but again, it did kind of... It was too long for me. Too long.
Yeah. Yeah, they just went over, a little bit over 20 minutes from what I saw. My notes. I think... I think I was more disappointed the fact that we didn't get that sweet, sweet, sweet dad win. I was rooting hard for Kojima. A little disappointed, right? I think that would have been a nice little story there. Right now, unfortunately, Evil does nothing for me. Really does nothing for me. And as I find it amazing that, as you said, now we have Evil and Goto, and they're to me they are exactly the same person, minus a little bit of eyeliner. I hear Goto likes to wear a little bit on the weekends. They're both good wrestlers. Please don't take it as they're not, because I believe they are. I just feel like
Chief
these
Jay
are
Strongway, they're gatekeepers.
Yep. These are a double gatekeeper match is what we got, which is kind of counterproductive in my mind. So yeah, big beefy gatekeepers is what we got coming up.
Okay, so that brings us on to Wednesday's show, which opened up with Taiji Ishimori finally defeating Yoshinobu Kanemaru in 9 minutes 18 seconds with the Bloody Cross. So, long time coming, this one, with Ishimori getting the win over his long-term rival Kanemaru. The body part purists, like myself, the limb work purists, would have been upset by this one with Ishimori blowing off the leg work. Just a little bit underwhelming for me. I expected more from these guys, but it was a perfectly serviceable opening match.
I can't believe that they kind of put a period on the end of that story that they kind of go to. I mean, it's a deeper, you got to be a hardcore fan to recognize the fact that Kanemaru has had Ishimori's number for quite a while, and it goes back to Noah days. I mean, you do have to be a little bit of a hardcore fan to kind of have that be your focal point of a match. But I am a little bit surprised that they kind of went that way here. Because let's be honest. If we were to assume that Okada was going to get past Yuji Nagata, does it matter if it's Ishimori or does it matter if it's Kanemaru going against Okada? I don't think either of them are getting past.
Ishimori, there's that kind of Toryumon connection. Bust out a few of their lucha moves.
True. I don't know. I just kind of feel like in an empty arena, you had again, it's more for hardcores, but you did have a little bit of a storyline that you could always kind of fall back on. And I'm not going to go out and say you wasted it on an empty arena show, but it wouldn't have hurt if I saw Kanemaru pin Ishimori again to further that off.
Second match was Tomohiro Ishii defeating Togi Makabe in 30 minutes 28 seconds with a vertical drop brainbuster. And yeah, here's another example of, I think, the empty arena formula worked right, with them just beating each other up on that, and it was really good. Yet another example of one of the older generation bringing a really good match to the table, and I thought Makabe deserves credit here because he got a really good match with Tsuji in the first round and now a really good match with Ishii in the second round. So very, very enjoyable stuff.
I thought Makabe, to me, is one of the shining stars of New Japan Cup this year. Absolutely, yeah. You're not going to get that a lot, right? And there's always the running jokes of how many bumps Makabe is going to take. And in a singles match against Ishii, you knew he was taking more than one. Let's put it that way. Even with that being said, I thought he had his working shoes on. Dusted those things off and went a hard 13 minutes. That's commendable. His total output, and again, lucky for me, I do have some of the stats in front of me. His total output was just over 20 minutes between the two matches that he had. I think and he worked them smart. He worked them smart. He was efficient with the amount of time that he had in those two matches. And Ishii, look, I've said it before where, it was almost like a questioning of, it does feel like you get the same thing with Ishii. It's great, don't get me wrong. With Ishii matches, I love. I'll take I'll watch that same shit every day, Joel. I love it. He is fucking great. And again, I don't care if it feels repetitive. I don't care if he's got like a Ric Flair formula. I don't give a shit. I think he is one of the greatest performers in the past fucking 8-10 years. He's got to be in that list.
I mean, to go back to Liam's question, argument for him as the best professional wrestler alive today. No, I wouldn't go that far. I don't think he's in that conversation. But he's like pizza. Always good. Always delicious. Always lovely to have a pizza.
Yeah. It's always great. Here's the thing. Always great. Or let's put it this way. Always at least very good. And then when you get that great piece, you're looking at the person across the table and you're like, what the this is fucking tremendous. Right?
You get the best ingredients. You go to the best
Yeah.
place. You're in Naples or something where they got that wood fire oven and they're using the freshest buffalo mozzarella and basil and pomodoro tomatoes, and then this is brilliant.
Right.
But most of the time
Right.
it's really good, and that's fine.
Yep. Absolutely. Boom. Pizza Ishi. That's what I'm going to have. I'm going to order a Pizza Ishi. Fucking, I'm an idiot.
Okay. Let's go to Hiromu Takahashi defeating Toru Yano, 9 minutes 17 seconds by count out. I like the end. I thought the finish was really funny with them sending Yano down to the lift, and I enjoyed the sort of brawling around Korakuen, having been there once, a bit of nostalgia there. But the opening 3/4 of the match, with them sort of chasing each other around with scissors and clippers, I found really boring. I didn't think it was funny at all.
Oh. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the week. Maybe it was just I had enough by the end of, I just felt sandbags on my chest. I loved it. I did. I don't know what happened. But I enjoyed every minute of that match. Because there was something going on every 5 seconds. Whether it was Hiromu coming to the ring, peeking out between, behind the curtain with the
helmet.
with
The helmet was funny.
The hard hat. Yeah, right. Okay. And then, he's kind of hesitant getting in the ring, and Yano's got 400 different clippers. Some of them work. He's got a backup. He's got scissors planted around the whole entire, in Corkin. They brawl, out into the lobby and by the lifts, if you will. I don't, and the tape, you know what I mean? And they're hopping to get back into the ring. I don't know. I loved it. I'm sorry. It was stupid, but I loved it. And I would never say that. It had to be something that I needed. To me, this is the time when you do that shit and you make things, again, here's the thing. Even with all the goofiness, it was almost logical. Like, there really wasn't a spot there, Joel, where I was like, oh, geez, come on. Like, everything kind of made sense, right? Even with the tape spots and all, I don't know. I kind of dug it. I don't know. It was silly, but it was fun as fuck. I'm sorry. I laughed many times.
No need to apologise. I mean, you're certainly not alone with that. Our friend of the show, Tyler, he slapped 4.5 stars on this one. So, yeah, definitely a lot of people who loved it more than I did.
I'm not going 4.5 stars. I'm taking it for what it was. I mean, that's... but, Tyler, 4.5 stars? 4.5 stars. Take the best match you've ever seen. You telling me that was a half a star worse? Come on. It was fun, but come on. Please. All right. Love you, Tyler.
Fifth match was Kazuchika Okada defeating Yuji Nagata in 20 minutes 14 seconds with the Cobra Clutch. This was good. I was expecting more. I don't know. Again, it's the Tanahashi / Okada formula,
Main event,
to me, doesn't work so well in the empty arena. There were parts of this that I enjoyed. I thought Okada selling in the whichever Nagata lock it was very good. That thing he does where, he's got his hand sort of wavering in the air and you think, oh, he's about to tap. But yeah, I was expecting more from this one.
Yeah, I think the empty arena hurts. It's pretty amazing how the people that we consider some of the greatest pro wrestlers of all time, how important that crowd element is, in matches like Tanahashi's and Okada's, guys that we traditionally put at the top of the mountain. You see how important those crowd reactions are and how that lifts matches to certain degrees. Yeah, it was good. It was a good match. I nothing to be that I would say is overly exciting. I'm confused a little bit by the fact that they call his finisher, and and it does. Somebody mentioned, with Okada, he goes to these submission finishers and then just drops them like they're hot. Red ink in the past. And here's another thing too. Like, they're calling that a Cobra Clutch. It's not a Cobra Clutch.
What should we call it? The Million Yen Dream.
But like the Cobra Clutch goes across the face, like the chin and the face. So if I'm behind you, Joel, right? You smell nice. And like, so I'll reach around and I'll grab your, like if I'm just
you have me at reach around.
I'll reach around and grab your arm, and I'm kind of pulling it across your face, and then I'm taking my other arm and putting it underneath that and applying pressure to the back of the head. Right? That's the Cobra Clutch. That's not the Cobra Clutch Okada's doing. Right? Am I out of my mind with that? Like, if you Google or YouTube Cobra Clutch, you're going to get Sergeant Slaughter. That's Cobra Clutch. That's not what we're seeing here.
What do you think is the function of Okada doing this? Because he's won his previous 2 matches with this. Is this a case of his 2 opponents not being able to bump effectively for a Rainmaker, or do you think they're trying to set this up as a secondary move for his matches later on in the tournament or later on in the year to provide an exciting false finish?
I'm gathering it's that, I guess. I mean, like I said, he's had those secondary, I don't want to even say finishers, but they were more setup moves than anything else. I guess so. I mean, I don't know why. I don't know why we feel the need that he needs to do that. But, I mean, I feel like I could take a Rainmaker. Right? What, is that really that hard? Like, you're turning around, you're eating a clothesline. Take the bump. I don't know. I just think they're just trying to add another element or another dynamic, something a little bit easier too on the body. I mean, is the Rainmaker like that taxing on someone's body, like delivering it? I don't know. Yeah, just I guess maybe again just another maneuver to get the crowd educated. To if he locks it in, it could be over, and they can lie on the mat and rest for a while.
Yeah, I mean, maybe with an eye on the New Japan Cup final, if it is Okada Sanada again, sort of back and forth between that and the Skull End, or you could have a TKO reversed into the Cobra Clutch, and you could do some interesting stuff with that. Even if I agree with you, I don't think it looks that good personally, but
no,
it's Grumpy Joel this week. What do you want?
It's all right. We're trying to cheer you up. I think we're getting better, right? Okay, all right. Come on. We're getting...
I missed out there. We got questions about Hiromu. So Arc White Flame says Hiromu seemed quite afraid of Yano's attempts to instill the virtues of Manscaped to him. How would you convince Hiromu to shave his job? I wouldn't, because they don't pay us anymore. So skip that one. Doug says if Hiromu happens to pull out a huge W in the finals, will he be held high above the rest of the juniors as an outlier able to cross over similar to Ospreay, or would it signal a real integration between divisions, opening opportunities for growth and more dynamic stories to be told?
I hope it's the latter. I've always said I think that some of the most interesting pro wrestlers would be considered juniors. With that said, I think it's important to establish Hiromu as top dog when it comes to the juniors. But I like the integration of storyline and the line blurring. I like a line blurred. I don't mind necessarily having junior divisions. In fact, I encourage it. But I like a line being blurred. And I think that Never title, how it's being used now, is really the perfect catalyst to do that. I don't have a problem with... I wouldn't even have a problem with a guy like Shingo or a guy like... maybe if Will stops lifting weights... guys going back down to junior for whatever reason. They want to cut weight for a storyline. I don't know. I wouldn't have a problem with that. I would love to see that nuance of people kind of going back and forth and a line being blurred.
Pumping Bomber X says, is it possible that Hiromu wins the New Japan Cup since he was slated to face Naito at the anniversary show? Is it possible that's how they make up for the main event? I think we discussed that before, but I will save that one until we do our picks in the upcoming matches. Because will that come up? Yes, it will, because we've got our quarterfinals on the left side of the bracket. Real Forno Tyler says, why is Toru Yano the best, and when will he get his earned IWGP Heavyweight and IC title shot? And Brent says, what horror movie do you think could benefit from recasting the main actors with Yano and Hiromu?
I'm not really big on horror movies. Are you a big? You kind of are. You have a lot of references to horror movies.
Yes.
I don't know if you know this thing about horror movies, Joel. They scare people. I don't like being scared. I don't like that little feeling at all. So maybe you can chime in on the horror movies. How about? I don't even think I can name. I can name like Dracula. Is that horror?
Okay,
movie?
now here you go. This is the correct answer. The original 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre with Toru Yano playing the role of Leatherface with hair clippers instead of a chainsaw, and him chasing a distressed Hiromu through the forests of Texas, trying to cut his hair. So there you go. Nice little visual for you.
That's why. That's why we're the number one podcast.
Okay, that's cheered me up. That question's cheered me up. I got a couple of questions about the dad. So Steel O'Neill says, thoughts on a new D1 tournament with only dad wrestlers. Who would you want in it? And Chris says, more of a comment than a question. It's the continuation of the excellent performances from the dads. Kojima, Makabe and Nagata have all shown that they can still do it when called upon. So yeah, we definitely echo those sentiments. If we have a D1 climax, then who are we putting in? Makabe, Nagata, Tenzan, Kojima. Round robin, those four guys. I'd watch it. Oh, Honma? Are we going to give Honma a spot on there as well?
Yeah, why not? Sure, he gets in there. Is Suzuki in this?
Yeah, I think he qualifies as a dad. So we've got a nice lineup of 6 then.
Yeah. I mean, Suzuki would be probably most people's pick. But I'm going to go upset with Togi Makabe in the D1.
Okay, Louis says, did either of you have your brackets busted yet? I got mine with Yo losing to Bushi. I should not have counted out the Jet Black Death Mask en serio majide. I think my brackets got busted with... I mean, the Taichi, Tanahashi, Ibushi, Zack thing was a bit of a coin toss, really, because you knew when one shoe dropped. What's the idiom with the shoe?
If you tie your shoe, it will be...
Whatever that idiom is. Yeah, it was a 50-50 for me. I picked the wrong one, but I think Manabu counted up our scores from our picks, so I'm winning, mate.
You are. I think you're got like 2 points on me or something like that, right? Is that what I saw? I started out hot. I started out like I didn't have a loss for a long time, and then the last night, I think I went like 1 for 3 or some shit like that, and that's where I fell apart. That's the story of my life. Start strong, peter out at the end.
Bit like this podcast. Juice 9100 says, thus far, what have been your guys' top 2 matches of the New Japan Cup? Okay, top 2 matches. I think Sho Shingo, clear number 1, and number 2's trickier. I liked Ishii Desperado. I liked Hiromu versus... what's his name? Honma. Hiromu Honma. I thought that was really good. Nagata Suzuki was great. Yoshihashi Tenzan was really good. I'm struggling to pick my second favourite match here. Probably go Suzuki Nagata.
Was good. Yeah, that's my second. Yeah, I would go with that exact same. Sho, Shingo, Yuji, and Suzuki. Again, I really... Ishii Desperado probably third, or maybe even Makabe Ishii. That was pretty good. And again, special love has to go out for me, at least for Hiromu and Yano. I think it was like a perfect palate cleansing empty arena match. Like, it's on my list of favorite matches. Sorry.
John says, have you guys noticed the odd camera angles and weird lingering close-up shots? A few times they haven't got moves in full frame, which is kind of unheard of for New Japan. I hadn't noticed that.
There was one that I felt like they missed, like a dive spot, where Ibushi, it was the double dive spot. Ibushi over on Zack, I think it was, and Tanahashi on the other side. And I would love to have seen the Tanahashi plancha to see if he cleared the fucking ropes. But yeah, that was the only one where I was like, I wanted to see that. That was the only one I remember. But again, I'm giving everything a hard pass. You know what I mean? Like everybody's getting graded on a curve here. I think not only the wrestlers who are involved in these shows, but production and camera work and everything involved. I think everybody's getting a pass from me, just to work out the kinks, figure it out, and get shows up so people can enjoy them.
All right, let's do previews then for the next 3 shows. So the next one will be Wednesday, July the 1st. We have Ibushi versus Taichi. This is a tricky one. I know I said Taichi earlier, but then Taichi getting pins over Tanahashi and Ibushi.
And Ibushi.
Yeah. And I'm going to chicken out. I'm going to go for Ibushi there.
Yeah? You coward. That's the second time you went against him, by the way. No comment from that. He doesn't care.
No comment.
All right.
I'm just disgusted with myself and not believing in the Holy Emperor.
Right. I'm going to go... I'm looking at who would be the winner. So they would take on the winner of Sonata and Sho, which we're assuming Sonata. So either one of those guys could take on Sonata and, Ibushi and Taichi. I feel like the guy on our YouTube video. I'm going to go with Sonata on this one. Sanada on this one. I feel like that's... I feel like... let me think. I'm going to go with that Ibushi. I'm going to Ibushi.
Is that Apple, the Apple company, releasing a version of Bushi? The Ibushi? No, that's a bad joke. Sorry, everyone. Okay, we got Sho versus Sanada.
No, you're not steamrolling past that one. We're going to sit and pause and let that one sink in.
Let that hang in the air like the bad fart smell that it is. Oh dear. Sanada versus Sho. That's a Sanada win.
Yeah, Sanada. Yeah.
Then Goto versus Evil. Absolute coin flip there.
Yep.
I don't know or care.
Well, let's put it this way. So if you say Evil, right, and that means you're tipping your hands because Yoshihashi has... Like you're not going to do Chaos versus Chaos, are you? And you're not going to do...
Yeah, but then if you do Evil, then you're going to end up probably LIJ versus LIJ, aren't you?
Right.
Okay, no, I'm going to go Goto here.
Right, so you got to split it, right? So I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going to go Evil Yoshihashi. Because I don't think Bushi makes it past, right? That would be weird. Why would Bushi moving on that deep? So that's the one where that's going to be my decider. So Yoshihashi will beat Bushi, which will mean Evil will beat Hiroki Goto.
Okay, I think we could get Chaos versus Chaos. So I would predict Goto versus Yoshihashi. Then on Thursday, July 2nd, we got Okada versus Ishimori. Obvious win for Okada there.
I'll go with... That's my new favorite thing. I'm going to go with Okada. Can we wait, no. For the rest of our picks, can we just do names like that? Can we
names.
And I had to guess who it is. We had to guess who it is. So I'm going to go with Okada, over Aishi Mori. That's a weird one. Who would have ever thought we would see that? That's a match. All right, so and then they take on the winners of Aishii and I can't do it.
Hi, Ramu.
Hi, Ramu. Hi, Ramu. Ishii's got to win this one, right?
Yeah. Right, I love Hiromu. I would love for him to win, but I think this is a step too far. He's already taken out 2 heavyweights. He's not beating Ishii, no.
Right. 2 heavyweights. This would be number 3, and this is a heavyweight that's on a higher pecking order than the other ones. Can I just fantasize for a second? Can we just go? That was our fantasy dream.
Oh, I thought it was opening to Naito's theme song.
No. This is us going into that phase of dreaminess. Here's our dream. Takahashi, Okada. How about that?
It's too sexy. It's too sexy for an empty arena.
It's too sexy. Too sexy. I'm too sexy for the cup. Too sexy.
Right, said Fred. Legend.
That is correct. I'm a model. You know what I mean.
Do a little turn on the catwalk. On the catwalk.
Where, Joe? On the catwalk. On the fucking. All right. Right, said Fred. The best part about that song is that fucking digital drum that I'm too sexy. I'm playing Right Said Fred tonight. That's what I'm doing. All right, yeah. Ishii wins, Okada wins. That's our semifinal.
Okay, and then on the same show we would have Ibushi versus Sanada. I'm gonna pick Sanada there.
I think so.
And then I would have Goto versus Yoshihashi with Goto winning, and you're going Evil Yoshihashi.
Evil Yoshihashi with Evil.
Okay, so then Friday's show would be our semi-finals. So first semi-final for our picks would be Okada against Ishii, and I'll pick Okada to win that.
I would as well, but now I'm fucked. Go ahead.
And then you're fucked, because I've got a very nice semi-final of Sanada against Goto, and Sanada wins. And you've got Sanada versus Evil. So explain your way out of that one, idiot.
Right. Yeah, I'm fucked. I booked myself into a nice little. I tried to avoid the one that I tried to avoid the round before. Fucking no, dude.
Step away from the book, Damon.
I need an eraser. Fuck. All right. Well, Sonata's winning, so there's that. But yeah, I booked myself into a fucking corner, so looks like I'm losing this fucking pool. Thank God I didn't put any money down.
Okay, so I guess then the next time you were here for us, we would record next Saturday after that Friday show. So bit of a longer wait, but I'm sure you guys can manage. Let's do some questions until you get bored and or tired. So Discord, VJ.
All right, so we're done.
See you next week.
Good night, everyone. Red circle. No.
All right, Discord first. VJ says, I need to tell my girlfriend my deep love of Japanese pro wrestling, but before I even show her a match, I need to explain pro wrestling to her. And she is a pacifist, so I would love some help from you sexy devils in this matter. Don't bother.
Yeah. Look, I'm being 100% serious. You don't need to. Like, you watching it, maybe you're like, okay, I'm going to put on this show, but you do whatever you want to do. But I gotta check this out. Okay, cool. And maybe in passing, don't force it on. Don't explain it. Don't let it sit. And if they're interested and they look, they'll ask questions. And then you can explain a little bit. Don't get too deep. Don't try and fucking be that meme where that girl's staring straight ahead, and the guy's like, and blah blah blah, or the one at the club, the one, the guy's like yelling something. People,
Yeah, I'm just trying to sort of flip it here. Like if Mally started trying to explain to me the plot of her favourite Thai TV drama, I would not give a flying fuck. I wouldn't want to hear it. So, again, it's not a deal breaker having your significant other enjoying something that you love.
Correct. Absolutely right. There's, and as a matter of fact, here's the thing. I know you want to share it. I get that. I understand that. There is something to be said about having something that's yours, right? And your time and your thing that you can kind of do your thing. You know what I mean? If it happens organically, that's awesome. That's awesome. Don't bring it up.
Dr. Poodle Papa says, imagine the worst case scenario and international travel remains shut down or significantly reduced into the next year or two. Fuck me. This person slow down for car crashes. Yeah. What do you think the likelihood the current crop of young lions are sent out on excursion domestically to other promotions in Japan? There's a slight precedent set with other young talents being sent to New Japan for seasoning. K-Dojo's Yoshida, younger talent brought into work Lions Gate shows. Seems like there could be some tasty matches to be had with handsome Yuya facing off with a Keno or Kaito Kiyomiya in Noah, or Tsuji facing off against a strong BJ Hoss division or All Japan heavyweights. I mean, I like the idea, actually. I mean, those interesting matchups that have been put on the table there, but I would like to think things would be better by then. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I mean, if we're going by what's going on in the United States, I don't think I'm going to be on a plane till fucking 2023. I would love to see it just to keep some promotions afloat. Truth be told, I mean, it might have been a joke. Maybe, I don't know. I just saw it in passing, but didn't Big Japan have a GoFundMe? More than a few of them, just to kind of stay afloat. And again, we can't use everybody. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I really want it. I like the idea. Do I think it's going to happen? I would say it's 30% chance of that happening, what was described. But I would love to see something for a lot of these promotions that are going to struggle to stay afloat. That is for sure.
Victor says, with NASCAR doing a race next month with 30,000 fans in attendance, do you think any promotion in the US is going to take that same risk?
No. Well, you know what? I say no. Wasn't there something that I saw WWE had 15 people come down with this COVID?
Yeah, I think if they could get away with it, they would do it without missing a fucking heartbeat.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. They would. NASCAR's having a race with 30,000 people. They got enough problems as it is. They really should be not worried about 30,000 people. That should be not happening. Let me be very clear. 30,000 people at a fucking anywhere should not be happening. Period.
Later Alligator says, I don't want to read this, right? It's another question about what do you do with the IC title? Could you have someone challenging for only that? And I'm not doing that one. I'm going to go to the Twitter questions. Sorry, Later Alligator, but we have answered this many, many times before. Okay, Chris says, thoughts on Neil Mopay? Okay, good question. So, for context, Damon, this is a Brighton and Hove Albion football player who pushed our goalkeeper when he was jumping up to catch the ball, and our goalie landed awkwardly and had a bad knee injury. And then Mopai, the same player, went on to score the winning goal against us in the last second of the game. So, whilst my gut instinct is to say he's a twat, I can't. I would love to have someone like that play for Arsenal. I think we need players who are twats, basically. We're missing that ruthlessness and that
Sandpaper.
You've got to be a bit of a dick, to be a winner or someone who hates losing. And I think he is that kind of player. So whilst I hate him for what happened, I also have a lot of respect for him. So there you go. And I like this one.
Do you think it was a dirty play?
Is it a dirty play? Well, it was a bit
Do you think it was...
dirty. You shouldn't really push a goalkeeper when they're jumping up because they might land awkwardly. I'm sure he wasn't meaning to injure him. He was, I don't know, hoping he'd drop the ball or might go outside the area to win a free kick. It was reckless. It was pretty dangerous, so I can't condone that. But again, I wish Arsenal players were doing the same thing. So you've got to do that sometimes. I'm not advocating injuring your fellow professionals, but let them know you're there.
I get it. You need a little sandpaper. Yeah, you need a little. You want to score goals. I get it. Yeah.
True Life Soldier says, just celebrated recently the 1 year anniversary of the end of Game of Thrones. What do you guys think about the saga? Who should have sat on the Iron Throne in the end? Okay. As a big fan of the books, I really enjoyed seasons 1, 2, 3, and most of 4. Then it went off a fucking cliff, and I thought the last season was laughably bad. So those are my thoughts on the TV series. Like, the people who are making it obviously didn't give a fuck anymore. They were just trying to use that intellectual property to launch themselves as directors, producers, whatever the hell they were doing, and did that, and then they just wanted to get rid of it as soon as they could. Who should have sat on the Iron Throne in the end? I'm a Stannis fan, so Stannis all the way. Damon, I'm assuming you haven't watched any Game of Thrones.
Not 2 seconds of it. The only thing I know is the white wedding, is it?
There's a red wedding and a purple wedding.
Red wedding? Okay. Maybe I'm thinking of Billy Idol's white wedding.
That would be a really good name for a finishing move. The white wedding!
White wedding!
White wedding! I think that'd be great.
Yes! Somebody can steal that. Look, I want somebody, and I know you're listening, old direct messengers. White wedding. I want a move called White Wedding. Yeah, that'd be great. Fucking great.
Violent Skipping says, spinning off you on your Bullet Club invades AW question, how do you think Ibushi would have been utilised in their first year if he made the jump, and what cut of the merch would he be on? He would have been Kenny's lovable sidekick. They would have put on really great tag matches. I'm sure there would have been a few bangers there, but I don't think we would have seen the rich, enjoyable singles run that we have seen from Ibushi in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
I would say either he would have been the newest member of A, the Dark Order, or B, Best Friends. He would be the third. He would be the third.
Teaming up with Orange Cassidy.
Best Friends. Yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it? There you go.
Dane says, who have been the Hiroki Gotos through New Japan history, meaning a gatekeeper role while getting occasional chances at the big belt but never winning it?
I'm going to be honest with you. Probably the biggest one in my mind was always Tatsumi Fujinami, because he was never going to be Inoki. And he was always that guy that had the carrot dangled in front of him. And it felt like it was too late to have him be the guy by the time he finally got to be the guy. So, yeah, I mean, I think Tatsumi Fujinami is probably the one that comes to mind to me almost instantly.
Kid Kilowatt says, who's better in your mind, New Japan's Three Musketeers or All Japan's Four Pillars of Heaven? From what I've seen, I think the Four Pillars are clearly better. But what do you think?
I mean, it's hard to fucking... I mean, big matches, the Musketeers were there, but... Like, we're talking Kawada and Masala and Kenta Kobashi, and... That's hard. That's hard to fucking knock out of the top spot. A lot of it has to do with your preference. I mean, again, but big matches, man. Muda and Hashimoto, and that's tough to fucking beat. But I would probably have to go the All Japan boys. Yeah, I mean, just what they put their fucking bodies through. And here's the thing, too. That Budokan Hall sellout streak, that's something. That's something. Imagine New Japan selling out every month at Budokan. Like, not even selling out. Like, fucking demand for tickets is massive. That run was pretty amazing. And then you got to consider Hanson's in that mix, and Steve Williams is in that mix, and Terry Gordy's in that mix. Yeah, I got to go All Japan.
All right, I've been told I need to stop the podcast now. So in closing, redcircle.com/shows/super-j-cast if you want to give us some money. And Discord link is in the show notes, so please do get involved with that. Especially, it's a lot of fun for live watch-alongs as well. ProWrestlingTees.com/super-j-cast if you want to get one of our great t-shirts. Thanks as always to editor Dan, who's on Twitter at LousyHero219. Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network for other great shows. 5 Snakes review on iTunes. Please give us some nice words. We haven't had reviews for ages. That would be appreciated. It helps us move up the rankings. Follow us on Twitter at the SuperJcast. Thanks everyone for listening, and goodbye.